Let's go ahead and take a look at this this type. What we want to do is select it, and there are two ways of doing that. You can click on the type tool and then click on the text, or you can just double click on the T thumbnail right there on the text layer, and I'll double click that, and that'll actually highlight all the text. Now what we want to take a look at first is this feature right here. Okay, so basically this is the way the text is rendered by Photoshop. And actually, let me just zoom in here a bit. I'm going to deselect that for a second and zoom right in to the image using the mouse wheel. And this is a feature that you turn on using Photoshop preferences. It's not on by default, but you can use the mouse wheel up or down to zoom in and out. It's a great feature. I highly recommend using it. Now, when you've got that type selected, we can actually choose how our text is rendered. Now, right now, we've got none. So basically, the text is rendered by however Photoshop's default rendering engine is used. But if we choose sharp, okay, we can actually see a little change in that type. If you watch it, I'll switch back to none, and you can see if you look around the edges, the top edge of that H, for instance, when I change to sharp, we'll see that now things have been sharpened up a bit. And we also have crisp, and these are just different ways of rendering that type. Strong and smooth. And so basically that just gives you different ways of rendering your type in Photoshop, and you want to play around with that depending on the type of image you've got, the type of effect you're going for, and the type the font style that you're using. You'll want to sort of play around with that a bit. Now, we also have our, let me just go back to sharp and then zoom out with the mouse wheel. There we go. Now, you also have options for standard options for alignment. So we've got left justified, we've got centered, we've got right justified. And basically, that's just a different way of sort of working with your type and adjusting it as necessary. With a single line of text, that's not really a big deal. But let me just go ahead and show you something. I'll go ahead and click away using the Move tool to deselect, and then click the Type tool. And this time, instead of just clicking anywhere on the document, I'm going to click and drag, and you can actually create entire paragraphs. And so now what we've done is we've created an entire paragraph, and so we can start typing something like I'm going to resize that a bit. So I'm going to select everything and resize it right down. You can click and mouse wheel down to resize, and it's actually so basically, we can create entire paragraphs of text, which is really useful in Photoshop. And again, you can go ahead and highlight all that and center